Welcome back to Super Mario 3D Land.
I like the little bit of originality and creativity they do for these little intro sections.
Yeah, I mean, they're short, they're inoffensive, they are kind of charming, I guess.
Right. And each one is different, so that's good. Oh no boy, this is like Desert World.
Well, you'd think that, but no, because there's a sky-themed level later on.
But at least we have a desert first level-ish thing.
That's kind of rare for 3D Land, the fact that you see, like, the overworld looks like a desert, and the actual first level is a desert.
Now what is this power-up, this Boomerang Bro power-up?
Oh, the Boomerang Bro power-up, possibly my least favourite. The only real use I ever got out of it is collecting star coins that are, like, well over a gap and whatnot.
Now there's a similar power-up in Mario 3, like Hammer Bro power-up.
Pretty sure there was, yeah. And in the Game Boy Advance version of Super Mario Bros. 3, there's kind of a precursor to, like, the Boomerang Flower and whatnot. It was just like a normal boomerang that you could pick up and throw. I think you could get it by one of the e-reader cards.
I think I had an e-reader. I don't know if I ever used it. Oh, look at that! The Womp Womp things have tails somehow.
Is nothing sacred?
Now I do kind of like at least the scale of this level, because there is a feel of climbing up a mountain to a certain extent.
Basically, this power-up is good for keeping things at a distance.
Which means it's more combat-oriented than, like, navigation.
Yeah. Fire Mario, for example, is mostly used for puzzles, in my experience.
See, the rule of thumb I like to abide to is that every power-up should have applications to both combat and navigation, but not many power-ups actually do that. Oh, you just let that pass by. How dare you?
Man, have you looked at my life counter? I'm not exactly hurting for one-ups. Hey, if I was leaving star coins behind, then you'd have reason to bitch.
I kind of wish they had thrown in enemies and spike balls at the same time, kind of as the grand finale there, but... I'm trying to remember what it reminds me of, because there are definitely games with combat elevators.
Too many to name, I would imagine, especially from platformers.
Right.
The annoying thing about the boomerang is you can't throw another one until it gets back to you.
Good shot.
One of the more fun golden flags to get that one.
Of course, if you miss, I think you have to do the whole level again.
I'm still waiting for that goddamn sign. I thought that was it for a second there.
It'll hit you when you least expect it.
I know, it's like a slap in the face.
So this level, it's like all overhead. Does it remind you of something?
It's a tribute to another Nintendo property, actually. Can you guess which one?
Pray tell, which?
It's Luigi's Mansion, of course.
Oh, how could I have not guessed that?
No, I'm just kidding. It's Pikmin. Donkey Kong?
But I do like this because you can kind of have the obstacles laid out in a different way. It is flat, but it's still like a different kind of platforming, I guess.
Why? It's Zelda, of course. And that's about it. It's top down, it plays the Zelda theme, that's it.
Yeah.
Contrast this to Link's Awakening, where you had Yoshi dolls, you had chain chomps, and all that good stuff. You even had Goombas in the 2D sections.
I wonder if it's physically possible to hit all the blocks in this room before time runs out.
Probably not.
Viewer challenge. Make it happen.
If you manage to do it, we'll give you a mention in a future playthrough, I guess.
Your name will be recorded for posterity in the halls of legends.
Here's the guy who wasted his time doing something so two nobodies on the internet can mention him. Well, I'm sorry, I speak for myself there. You're not a nobody.
Right, I'm a Heartless.
There you go. I'm very unversed in these matters, you see.
Oh man, timing.
You probably can't see this due to the lack of 3D and whatnot, but the fire looks great in 3D.
For sure. And again, it is coming straight at the screen a lot of the time.
Now, did they have to use the underground theme for everything remotely underground? That looked more like a fire level than anything.
Alright, I mean, they could have done a full-on Zelda remix, but that might be too much.
Dude, that would have been amazing. A Zelda remix, but in Mario style? I'm watching you, game. Watching you.
Oh man, the theme of this level is platforms.
Floating in space.
Amazing. So yeah, like you were saying, Skyworld for some reason.
Yeah, this was a problem that people had with Sonic Colors, that the level design felt very inorganic, and I know that's a very petty thing to criticize Mario about, seeing how abstract the design of the series is, but Galaxy took that idea and made it a bit more cohesive, it made it feel natural. Here, after that, it's just a bit of a downgrade.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of had that feel for a lot of the Galaxy levels as well, but this game takes it to a new level.
At least in Galaxy you could say, oh, if we're like, you know, like for example the Manta Ray surfing levels, it's just a stretch of water because that's just how water works in that galaxy. I think this enemy here was from the Galaxy games.
Mr. What's his name?
Mr. Turnover, and he is vulnerable, turnover again, and he's not.
Right. He should consider getting a name change, or at least a nickname. But yeah, I remember him from, like, a couple of the more 2D Galaxies, at least in Galaxy 2. Now these swingy platforms, I'm just terrible at timing, I've noticed. Because a lot of the time, when they stack up on each other later on, I will try to jump onto one and it'll just swing out from under me.
This is one of the rare occasions where you'll see me not use the raccoon suit, mostly because I couldn't be bothered to go back to the older worlds and get one. Interesting fact about going back to old levels, by the way. If you miss a star coin and you go back to get one, make sure you actually complete the level or it will not save your progress.
I've made that mistake.
Again, it just adds to kind of like the padding factor. I wish you could just go in, get it, press start, like save and quit.
I mean, none of the levels are too long, but it's still annoying, especially if there's a actually tough section at the end of the level.
That's an example of something that would make it more accessible without dumbing it down.
And the same applies to power-ups, so if you want to go back and grab a suit, you gotta actually beat the level.
God knows I had to do that a lot before the final level. I like the victory jingle, that's one of the better original pieces. Oh my god. I'm gonna develop a condition by the end of this.
Well, we're over a quarter of the way through, so we are making good progress.
What do you think about these enemies?
Mr. Monty Mole Man?
Yeah.
I like him because whenever I see him, I'm reminded of the theme to Monty on the Run, which is great, great music.
I found these underground levels a tad clunky to get through.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is that it's like underground and it feels congested and confined. And then I think the lighting does a good job with that, but on the one hand, that's an unpleasant experience to have. Congratulations, you can light torches.
Yay, we have coins for getting one-ups that we don't really need. One-ups are an outdated concept in the Mario series nowadays.
I think a lot of people like to make the argument that it's basically there as a retro showpiece, not as an actual mechanic.
I mean, I'd be sad to see the one-up go, but at the same time, what's the difference between losing all your lives, going back a minute or two, and just losing, failing to complete a challenge and just doing it again from the beginning?
Right, I mean, they work a little differently between the different games. In, I think, the new Super Mario Bros. Series, there are only save points about at the beginning and midpoint of each world, so losing all your lives matters. But here, you just go back to the start of the level.
There's a cool little thing here. If you manage to kick this into one of the pipes, you get a one-up.
Well done. Now, which pipe should you take?
This one right here.
And how are you supposed to know that?
Well, Datai, you jump into him, and if it doesn't take you to where you want to go, you try a different one. That's called a puzzle.
That's not a puzzle, that's trial and error.
Ah yes, my favourite level coming up next, the Toad House. I died many times. I fucking hate you so much. What is it with Nintendo and them trying to appeal to a newer audience so much that they're willing to patronise older players? And it is patronising, because if I wanted to take a break, I'll take a break. I don't need to be told, thank you.
Well, some people honestly do forget. Generally, I don't forget when I'm playing a Mario game, but like, I don't know, an MMO, a long RPG. Oh my, look at all those Goombas.
I guess I'll stomp a line of them later in the game.
I know, that's a dastardly coin right there.
I kind of like it though, because it makes you plan ahead for it, but at the same time, it's not like the ones you have to get only using the raccoon suit in the tail attack.
Yeah. I mean, you can hypothetically get it with good wall kicks, right? If you were majorly skilled. I mean, generally they really throw the propeller hat at you if they want you to use it, so...
I will begrudgingly admit there is a great use of 3D coming up here in just a second.
Now this may sound weird, but I actually like this weird scattered block thing as a set piece. Because it's, if I can be pretentious artsy guy, it uses negative space as a set piece.
Again, it's the whole, imagery thing. It looks nice as you're going down towards it.
Right, there's a real background there, for one thing.
Don't go too low, though. You will die. I've made that mistake. In one of the takes I cut out, I thought I was aiming for the top of the flagpole, but it was on the other side of the platform.
Oh no. And you ground pounded so you had no way out?
Yes.
Man, look how dastardly and evil that castle looks.
Oh, thank God, a castle. And it's not in the sky. Actually, a sky castle would be pretty cool. It'd be kind of like Peach's castle in Paper Mario.
Yeah.
And to an extent, Galaxy 1, I guess.
So finally we have another actual castle rather than an airship.
And by God does it feel refreshing.
Got swingy spike things, we got lava, we got things falling into lava.
You got these weird mini dragon things that shoot fireballs, classic dry bones, not my favourite enemy, but whatever, they're a castle staple by now, I guess. Thwomps, of course. It just looks very nice overall. It's the level of polish that does it for me, really.
Have I mentioned that I want to hear this music orchestrated? Because I want to hear this orchestrated. I mean, does the 3DS have the capability to do, like, full orchestra stuff?
Well, it's a massive step up from the DS's sound chip, I know that much.
That's true. But I want to hear go to a live performance with a bunch of strings and all that. Because this isn't Galaxy orchestrated, you know.
Does this musical piece actually come out of Galaxy? Because it sounds very similar, tone-wise.
See, I feel like a lot of the Mario music has gotten very similar tone-wise. Whenever I try to conjure up the main theme of this game, I just come up with the new Super Mario Bros. Wii theme. And I have to double-check every time a new game comes out that make sure that they're not just reusing music. Destructible environments.
Kind of have to use this to your advantage from here on out.
Tanuki Suit is actually really useful here, because Bowser likes to take up basically the whole platform, so if you can float around him, it helps a lot.
Oh man, it gets even worse later on in the game, because not only does he take up most of the platform, but he has an extra attack, and if you know me, and you know my pet peeves, you'll know how angry I can get at him. Bye-bye, not Bowser.
I feel so sorry for the minions that are forced to be Bowser.
I can understand that, but on the other hand, they're in my way.
That's true. But I don't think they ever asked for this.
Well, there was one of those postcards that basically showed Bowser ushering off his troops, raccoon tail leaves in hand.
I think there's a draft in the Bowser Kingdom.
There we go, World 5 done. Not very eventful, but that is 3D land for you. Okay, we'll see you all next time for World 6 of Super Mario 3D Land. See you then.
Adios.